Luis, as I told you, I want to do this like a small informal masterclass.
Cool.
So
No worries.
I think we can start with what equipment you play.
What type of instrument? I play a Yamaha 8335 LA. That's Wayne's horn. Good horn. Maybe you can tell that to the guys. 8335 LA.
Ok.
Yeah.
Ele usa trompete Yamaha 8335 LA, que é o modelo do Wayne Bergeron.
Yeah.
And a GR mouthpiece, right?
Yeah, I have my GR mouthpiece, the Dowdeswell T1.0. I might actually have one up there. I'm not sure. There's definitely one upstairs. I can get one in a little bit. Yeah, the GR T1.0 Louis Dowdeswell. Have you got one?
Yeah, no, it's not GR model. Yeah, it's a GR.
It's a GR.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. Probably you don't know, but I'm the GR dealer in Brazil.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's good. Yeah,
então ele toca com trompete Yamaha 8335 modelo Wayne Bergeron, né, modelo LA. E agora ele é artista GR, ele tem um vocal com as numerações dele, né? Com a assinatura dele. What's the size of the mouthpiece?
Bear with me 1 second. I'll just go get it.
Okay.
Right, here we go. So, this is it.
Okay.
Pretty. Here you go. And it's got my logo there. I think. Yeah, there we go.
Cool.
It is. Come on, focus. So, see if I can get this to focus. There we go.
Yeah, I can see.
So it's kind of, it's like a 63. I guess the closest in standard would be 63S, but it's got the Wayne Bergeron rim. Same rim as Wayne's, or it's very slightly different to Wayne's. It's a slightly smaller rim, and it's completely flat. Go on.
Yeah, it would be like a Mach 9, right?
Around, yeah, between 9 and a 10, I think. Yeah, 63. So it's
okay.
a 0.631 inch diameter on the inside, and then the cup is a bit more conventional than Wayne's. So it has a lower alpha angle and a higher beta angle. Pretty sure, yeah. So it's more like this rather than like a bowl. So it kind of goes down, and then the ceiling is flatter at the bottom. So there's more to kind of blow off, and there's more room in the top of the cup for the top lip to vibrate freely. But
yeah, it helps your lip not touch the cup, right?
Yeah. So
okay.
So on Wayne's, I didn't realize this while I was playing Wayne's, but I was having a top lip impingement on the inside of the cup, on the inside of the top of the cup, and so basically, this is just giving me a bit more space at the top to help with that. I mean, all of this was done by Gary without me knowing. You know, I didn't really know. He kind of taught me a lot while I was there, but I didn't go in to GR's place, his workshop, expecting anything. I just went to go and see him, say hello, you know. I didn't kind of go in thinking I'd come out with a new mouthpiece, but he's a genius, you know. He just comes up with the craziest stuff. It's amazing. So, okay. Yeah, that's the mouthpiece. It's cool. Maybe you can translate for me.
Yeah. Esse bocal ele foi feito para ele. É um bocal como se fosse um GR63. Um GR63 seria mais ou menos um diâmetro entre um Ba 9 e 10. Ele usa a borda do modelo do Bergeron, que é uma borda um pouco maior, ela mais achatada, então você tem uma área de contato maior no lado, né? Fica mais confortável. E o copo é um copo que ajuda o lábio não encostar no fundo do bocal para não haver entupimento. Então, assim, o lado dele consegue vibrar mais facilmente. Ok, agora para começar a perguntar para ele, a gente recebeu muitas perguntas sobre, obviamente, sobre agudo, né? E também o que ele pratica, o que ele estuda, como ele se desenvolveu e tudo isso. We got a lot of questions about high range and practicing and how you have developed your embouchure through the years. So I think we can start. What's your daily practice routine?
Good question. I don't really have a routine as such. Tony Fisher is a great trumpet player in London. He's an old guy now, but he's an amazing trumpet player. He kind of gave me some really great advice when I was younger. He said, the trumpet never feels the same every day. So why would we warm up the same every day? And it that struck a chord with me. I do believe that there is some truth to having like good rationale to having a routine, and everyone is different. But personally, for me, I find like if I have to play something classical, then I'm not going to play a routine that involves playing something really high, because you condition your chops to do all sorts of different things. And for me, I find that if I condition my chops to do one thing for too long, or not access a different part of my playing, I find it quite hard to switch immediately. It's much more like a day-to-day thing. So if I have to play some classical music one day, I will warm up classically. If I have to play high notes all day, then I'll warm up accordingly to make sure that I'm set in a way that is reasonable for what I'm being asked to play. Maybe you could translate that for me now, and then I'll keep going.
Yeah. Eu perguntei para ele qual que é a rotina de estudos dele, e ele falou uma coisa interessante, que ele não tem uma rotina de estudos pré-definida. Isso vai depender do que ele vai ter que tocar no dia. Por exemplo, se ele vai ter que fazer um trabalho mais erudito, mais clássico, aí ele aquece para aquele tipo de trabalho. Se ele vai ter que tocar algo mais para coisas de lead ou coisas de screaming, um solista, né, de agudo e tal, aí ele aquece para esse tipo de trabalho. Então ele não tem uma rotina estabelecida, vai depender do que ele vai fazer.
Cool.
Can you give an example of like how you are much for like a high range?
I'll quickly, if I was to do a routine or anything like that, like some of the things that I might incorporate that I think are really important. I think lip bending is really important. Because it helps center and refine your chops back to a sort of origin. I also think that flexibility is really important, but also hard and light tonguing, and trying to figure out where the tongue needs to be in the mouth, because every day that can feel really different, whether you're tonguing at the front of your mouth, whether you're tonguing sort of at the top of your mouth, whether you're tonguing through the teeth. There are loads of things that every day it feels different, and I have to try and get it so that it's feeling the same. And that's when a routine would come in. And sometimes when I'm at home and I'm not working, like, currently, for obvious reasons, I have to think of something to do to keep everything kind of at least the same. It's going to be a weird period, this, I think, for a lot of trumpet players, because there's nothing quite like match fitness. There's nothing quite like football players who, it's all well and good being on the training ground every day, but that's like being in the practice room every day. But when you've got to play a match, in the World Cup, then you've got to be match fit, and it's the same for gigging. I think when people go back to gigging at the end of this mess, it's going to be weird, and people are going to not be very match fit. So for me, it's about trying to figure out how to stay match fit through this period. It's going to be funky, I think. But you do that, and then I'll go on to I'll talk a little bit about how I develop my high register.
Ok. Ainda continuando sobre a rotina, ele falou que uma coisa que ele acha que é muito importante na rotina são exercícios de bend, lip bends, né? Então o exercício de bends é bem importante. Uma outra coisa que ele tenta fazer na rotina dele é Porque assim, o que ele disse é cada dia a gente se sente de um modo diferente para tocar. Então ele tenta aproximar essa sensação de todos os dias. Porque às vezes tem dias que você está articulando, sente a língua para cima, ou outro dia mais para baixo, outro dia no meio. Ele tenta procurar essa sensação boa todos os dias. Então ele não tem assim um exercício, uma coisa que ele faz especificamente. Uma coisa que ele tenta fazer é se manter em forma.
A bit brighter now.
We have a question about, of course, high range. It was something that you developed, or something that was more natural for you?
Okay, so I get asked this question quite a lot, and it's a difficult one to answer because I did do a lot of playing. I did do a lot of wanting to play in the upper register when I was a kid. I believe that anyone can play in the upper register, but I don't think everyone can do it in the same way. So for me, am I a natural upper register player? Maybe, but did I get lucky? I would rather say maybe. Maybe I got lucky. That would probably be a fairer assumption to make, because I believe that it's a trial and error thing, you know. I don't think you kind of build chops like, ooh. You know, I don't think my mouth is any stronger than any other trumpet player. I think trumpet players' chops in general are stronger than the average person, but like, I don't think my chops are any stronger. Like, if you asked me to play Arbon the whole way through, I wouldn't be able to get through 5 pages. You know, it's a different sort of strength. And for me, it's a case of having found the formula that makes this do what this wants it to. And some people spend their entire lives trying to find that. And that's kind of the unfortunate thing about this, is whether I'm natural or not. You know, I got sort of a gap between my teeth here. I don't know whether that's helpful. It might be. It might hinder me. I've got quite big lips. Maybe that helps. Equipment is a big thing to do with it. I used to play a really big mouthpiece, a 1 1/4 C bark, and obviously I couldn't play high on that, and it was only when I got a smaller mouthpiece that I kind of started developing. But I started developing high register when I was around 14 years old. And I think once, you know, kids in general are much better at absorbing information, and they also have time to absorb it and work at it. And I think maybe I just dumped a ton of time into developing that at that age. I'm hesitant to say that it's natural, because I don't think that actually helps anyone. Did I get lucky? Maybe. I might have figured out something, or maybe I'm just quite good at figuring things out with regards to that. I don't know, but it doesn't feel like it's something that I didn't just pick the horn up and it just like, oh, really high. You know, there's a formula to it all. There's a way of figuring it out. So maybe go with that, and I'll keep going. I'll give you something to say.
Yeah. So it's something like that you had to figure it out, right?
Yeah. I've absolutely figured it out. It wasn't something I could just. It didn't just work like that. Yeah. But maybe it was easier for me to figure out than it has been for other people. That might be fair. Yeah.
Ok. Eu perguntei para ele, fizeram uma pergunta para a gente hoje, mandaram para a gente uma pergunta, querendo saber se a extensão dele foi algo que ele construiu ou foi algo que era mais natural para ele. E ele não sabe dizer muito sobre isso, porque ele disse que ele não sente que ele tem uma embocadura muito mais forte do que outros trompetistas. Ele falou que se de repente tiver que tocar 5 páginas barbã, talvez ele vai ficar mais cansado, vai ficar cansado mais rápido do que outras pessoas. E ele sente que é outro tipo de resistência. E uma coisa que aconteceu é que ele até mostrou os dentes, né? Ele tem os dentes tortos, ele falou que o lábio um pouco maior, ele falou, não sabe se isso ajuda. Ele falou que não foi difícil para ele chegar nesse caminho, para ele chegar no resultado. Mas foi algo que, com 14 anos, ele começou a estudar e as coisas foram encaixando e ele encontrou o caminho. e não estudou algo específico para chegar nesse resultado. E ele tocava com um bocal bem grande, ele tocava com um bocal em um quarto C. E ele falou que conseguia tocar as notas agudas. E, então, falou que não, também não é questão do bocal, foi uma coisa que ele foi encontrando ao longo do tempo. Going to add something, or?
Yeah, I mean, maybe I'll explain how I develop the range, because I think that's important. I don't really believe necessarily in like exercises as a way of as the best approach. Personally, there's nothing wrong with them inherently, but I don't see many exercises teaching you how to tongue a top D perfectly on the and of 4. You know, every single piece of music that I've come across that requires to be playing lead trumpet. You know, I'm not really talking high notes here. That's slightly different. But lead trumpet, you know, up to high G, maybe double high A. You know, like that's all anyone needs. You know, but like no one is teaching you how to tongue a high D. And that note right there, that high D, in my opinion, that should be your anchor note. That should be the note that you should find that easy. That should not be hard. If that note is hard, you need to find out how to make that note play easier, because that note, it should be sort of that region between like high G and the G above is like classic big band soli lead trumpet region. Of course, everything below that is very important. But if we're talking specifically lead trumpet, the best way to practice it is to get some charts and to try and play. Everyone's heard this before, but I can't stress it enough. It's literally the best way to practice it is to get some charts, get some recordings, and try and copy your favorite players, because there's no exercise out there that's saying, you know, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, ba, 2, 3, ba, 2, 3, 4, ba, and every single note, every top D has to be nailed through the middle. You know, you can't split that note. And then anything above a high D, you know, we can consider that to be a bit higher, right? It still should be that hard. And then anything above an F, okay, we're getting a bit harder. But F, you know, D, D sharp, E, F, that should be really solid. And you only get that by playing that stuff a lot. I don't think sort of doing arpeggios up to those notes is actually teaching you the skill of nailing those notes. There's a video that sort of stuck with me when I was a kid, was that John Faddis video where he talks about people ripping up to high notes and things, but he said no one's ever sort of talking about tonguing them. And it really made a good point to me, because particularly in the practice room, you know, you can split as many of those as you want. You're only going to get better at hitting them if you practice them more. And if it means that you're more confident about tonguing in that register when you're actually on a gig, then you should be better. The other thing that tonguing does is it actually helps with your compression a lot. So, you know, if you insist on ripping up to every note you play, or playing an arpeggio up to every single note that you play, you're not actually training your mouth to compress the air. You're only training sort of like what's happening deeper, because there's nothing behind. There's no like air behind the tongue to release. And if the tongue is like most of the compression, then you're having to work way less hard. You know, something I like to practice if I haven't played a lot of high notes is just exactly that. Play top Ds. Bow, 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 da, 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 da. And what will happen is your mouth, you know, this maybe is a little bit more advanced because you have to be able to at least do that in the first place. But if you can do that, what's going to happen is your body is going to subconsciously be in a position to play in that register much more comfortably. And I guarantee, like, I've done this with students before, just got them to play lots of top Ds in a row, then rest, and then just do it again. And every single time they do it, the Ds get more and more and more secure. Then you put a lead trumpet part in front of them, and then they're suddenly playing it way easier. And then ask them to sort of come down a bit, and then they can go again. But doing all this sort of like incessant arpeggios up to the upper register, I like da, 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 ah, it's not. To me, it's counterproductive. I would much rather hear someone tongue as high as they could, and then maybe come down from there, because that's a harder skill, in my opinion, is coming down. But maybe that's just a personal thing. So there you go. Why don't you go with that for a bit?
Yeah, I try to remember everything.
Sorry, I just go.
No problem. No, it's okay. Uma coisa que ele adicionou sobre a questão de estudar agudo, ele falou que ele não conhece ou não recomenda nenhum exercício em específico para extensão. Ele falou que uma coisa que é legal fazer é ouvir as gravações, por exemplo, de Big Band, que você... Ele falou que primeiro tocar de Big Band tem que tocar entre um Sol, acima do pentagrama, até o Sol simples. Essa é a extensão básica. Então, a extensão básica do primeiro trompete. Ele falou, então, uma coisa que ele acha legal é pegar, tocar junto com as gravações, e uma outra coisa é você tocar o Ré agudo e articulando. Ele falou, tem um vídeo do John Petty falando que a maioria das pessoas consegue chegar fazendo ligado, né? Você consegue chegar na nota aguda, mas a maioria não consegue articular. E o John Petty falou que ele começou a praticar a articulação nas notas agudas. E o Luiz está falando para praticar no Ré, por exemplo, pá, 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 para você sentir essa sensação e cada vez uma sensação mais fácil, porque não é forçar, igual ele falou sobre o arpejo, fazer para... Não, é uma coisa você procurar ter uma sensação mais fácil possível, porque essa é a fórmula para você descobrir essas notas agudas. É uma busca dentro da sala de estudo e você vai indo e vai descobrindo. Não tem um exercício específico para isso. Another question that is related to that.
Yeah.
What's your approach to amounts of air and compression?
Okay, I personally think air is overrated, like way overrated. Now that isn't to suggest, by the way, that air isn't important. It is, obviously, but it's definitely overrated. You don't need a lot of air to play in the upper register. You need a lot more air to play in the low register. But there is it's difficult because there are different schools of thoughts, right? You know, I think what everyone is doing, I know I said earlier that we can't all achieve this in the same way. Everyone's doing it differently. But physics-wise, based purely on science, we're all doing the same thing. Like, to play a double high C, all our lips are vibrating at the same speed. You know, no matter how you want to look at it, that's what's happening. But how we conceptualize it is different. So some people might think like the Maggio is the only way to play in the upper register. I don't. I think it's counterintuitive to try and play in the upper register with the same embouchure as a pedal C. That makes no sense to me. It might work for someone, and that's cool. You should check it out. But for me, it's counterintuitive. Air is overrated because no one ever... I very rarely hear anyone talk about like face shape or like how you manipulate your face, what's going on the inside of your chops, and all those things to achieve what you want. I hear everyone talking about being open and like, you know, breathing correctly. It's like you can play a double high C with like basically zero air. So, you know, if you're talking about endurance and trying to stay relaxed, that might come into it, about how you sort of bring the air in. But actually playing those notes, you don't need very much. Do I play better when I think about my breathing? Probably, but that's not that's not actually getting me the notes. I can play the notes with no air, which is why I tend to try and sort of get people to practice the upper register quietly, because if they practice it quietly, you can't force the note. If you are only playing the upper register really loudly, then all you're doing is just forcing your chops to vibrate in a very inefficient way. If you practice the upper register quietly and get it very, very controlled so that there's no horrible stuff in your sound, all you then have to do is just supply that with more air to increase the volume, and then what's going to happen is your chops are going to naturally open, but you have to be able to hold them down. And you don't need muscles to do that. You can manipulate your face so that you're naturally biting on the air without doing this. Because I don't do that. I'll hook my top lip under, something like this. I don't know. I'll hook my top lip under like this, and then I'll use that anchor as a way to press down on the air. Now, it might seem like that's a cheat or like a special embouchure.
Do you roll the up lip?
Yeah.
Upper lip?
Yeah.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
So it's like that. But
and do you use tongue, arch tongue?
Yes.
Do you use that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. I think almost everyone uses that. Whether they think they do or don't, yeah. I don't see how you can accelerate air at that speed. I just don't.
Okay. Let me translate this.
You do that.
Eu perguntei para ele sobre qual a abordagem dele em relação à quantidade de ar e compressão. E ele falou, ele não quer ser mal interpretado, ele falou, lógico que ar é importante, mas você não precisa de muito ar para tocar no registro agudo. E aí ele até citou o mágio, falou que para muitas pessoas, as pessoas acham que o mágio é o caminho para tocar agudo. Ele falou que para ele, ele falou isso pode funcionar para algumas pessoas. Mas para ele não faz muito sentido você tocar com a mesma embocadura, desde dos pedais até em cima, porque ele falou que ele não faz isso, ele muda, ele vai ajustando a embocadura à medida que ele vai subindo. Uma outra coisa que ele faz é ele enrola o lábio de cima na hora de tocar. Então ele dá uma enrolada no lábio e outra coisa que ele faz, ele arqueia a língua, ó, desse jeito, do that, Ele faz isso, o lábio de cima dele enrola um pouco para ajudar a criar essa compressão, para ele tocar no registro agudo. Can you demonstrate to play something like to show them how much you breathe to play like a phrase in the upper register?
Yeah, give me a minute.
Because I think that is like a misunderstand point. Because many people here they think sometimes that they have to like breathe a lot.
Yeah, let me go upstairs because my neighbors are just here. So I'll just take my phone upstairs. And
eu pedi para ele demonstrar. Eu pedi para ele demonstrar que
I haven't actually played anything today, so it could be a bit funky, but we'll find out. So.
Ele vai mostrar pra gente aqui o. Gravou para você também?
Right, I'm upstairs.
Okay.
I'm upstairs. So.
Okay.
So, basically. Is the sound coming through my headphones or is it coming through my phone? Do you know? Is it through my headphones?
Okay.
So, for example, so there's like next to zero air there. That's just making sure that this shape to achieve that. This is difficult with my headphones on. So I can even breath attack that note so that I can check that the chops are set in a way that when I put air over them, they will vibrate at that speed. So the problem with like just practicing it really loud is that you don't learn how to get your mouth into that position. Now, what I was trying to say earlier was that I think that everyone can do that, but I can't really tell you what you need to do here to get them into that position. That's what I believe. Look, it's a useless skill, like playing a pianissimo double high C. But the reality is that I'm not having to require much effort. There's not much pressure going on. I'm not having to, you know, breathe a lot. I'm not having to work really hard, and then I can then translate that into actual, you know, music quite easily. Anyway, that's the idea behind it. I'm not saying that everyone should just be able to do that immediately, but everyone will be able to manipulate their mouth with the correct equipment, whatever that is, not necessarily this, something, to achieve what they want. I don't think it's a case of just doing exercises. What I would suggest is maybe going, I don't know, starting off. So what I'm doing there is I'm just trying to find the most optimal shape that my mouth needs to be in. You know, I could try it like this, you know. You know, that's obviously not very good. But
yeah,
I know that that works. So then I can go. And that's the same setup that I would use down below. But it didn't used to be. I used to play a slightly different way in the low register, and then I wouldn't be able to get higher. So the key is to figure out how to do that in the upper register and then bring that into the rest of your playing slowly so that you can connect the registers together. Because I'm not using like a lot of muscle to keep the chops from blowing open. They just have to be set in a way, you know. I can't form an embouchure. I can't really free buzz. It doesn't work. Yeah. So I have to anchor off the mouthpiece. And it doesn't sound very nice. I'm just trying to demonstrate like what is going through my head when I think about this. Do you want to try and explain that? I don't know.
Yeah, I just want to ask one thing.
Yeah.
Can you say that is like a compression exercise?
Say that again.
Can you say that is like a compression exercise? That's one that you just did, like.
Yeah. And then yeah.
And then you can find the. Yeah,
you can find the right place. You know, the other compression exercise would be the tongue compression exercise, which is what I was talking about earlier, like a high D. You know, like. Every single time I play that note, I'm optimizing my mouth so it is in a better, so it's in a more efficient place to play that note. And if you get tired doing that, you're going to have to change something here. It doesn't matter how much air you put out. Something here isn't right, or you've got the wrong equipment. That is basically all it comes down to. And I know that sounds really like, it's probably quite unhelpful, but it is the truth. You know, some people find it really, really easy to play in the upper register because they've spent time, I don't say really easy, it's never easy, but like they've spent time trying to figure out the most efficient way of doing it. And I think that we have to be smart in 2020 because we're being asked to play so many different styles of music. If you don't look after this by being smart with it, you're going to find yourself in trouble down the line, in my opinion.
Okay.
So, yeah, cool.
Okay. I'll try to translate. Ok. Bom, tem bastante coisa aqui para traduzir. Vamos tentar deixar isso mais curto, senão vai ficar difícil para traduzir. O que ele está demonstrando e querendo dizer é que com esse exercício que ele fez tocando Dó agudo, depois tocando Ré, atacando as notas e tentando encontrar o lugar certo. O que ele procura fazer é encontrar a posição, a melhor posição do lábio, que ele consiga produzir a nota de forma eficiente, sem fazer muito esforço. E voltando ao tópico lá sobre a respiração, ele quis demonstrar que ele não respira muito, depois ele não precisa de muito ar para ele tocar nessa região. Então, um jeito interessante de praticar é você pegar uma nota só, sei lá, depende da sua extensão, sei lá, um Dó agudo, um Ré agudo, Mi, Fá, e você ir praticando essa nota, mesmo que seja só um ruído, que aos poucos ela vai abrindo, 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 até virar uma nota cheia. There is a question of Boris Northcutt. I don't know if you know him. He's a very good soloist from the United States.
Who was that?
He was in Brazil. Boris Northcutt. Morris Northcutt.
Oh, Morris Northcutt, yeah. I got him here, yeah. Yeah, what's happening with your bottom lip during your anchoring of the top lip? Just let's translate the question. O Morris Northcutt perguntou para ele o que acontece com o lábio de baixo dele, o lábio de baixo, quando ele está enrolando o lábio de cima. Quando ele enrola o lábio de cima. So this is something I'm sort of this is something I'm trying to come up with a explanation properly for at the moment. I don't want to give the wrong advice. I'm a believer in the Doc Reinhardt pivot system. I think that's really good. I think it makes perfect sense to me why different people play the way they do. Now the bottom lip, I've been told, I don't know exactly what I am type-wise. I think I'm a type 4. For anyone that knows Doc Reinhardt, I'm pretty sure I'm a 4. But that would mean that I had a lot more bottom lip than top lip. But if I show you in a visualizer, this is obviously not the only thing that can happen, but so that is obviously a 4, but I also sometimes play like this, which is more of a 3B. So it depends on how I'm playing, but if I'm playing like a 4, then the bottom lip is just, if I need to play louder, I just lower my jaw. It's kind of all it is, really. Yeah, tons of bottom lip like that. But as I say, 95% of my work, I'm not playing like super high all the time. So I'm much more likely to sort of play more like a 3B. Like, where I'm basically 50-50. I'm never really more top than bottom, but it's either 50-50 or it's more bottom than top. So if I am playing like a type 4, then that's what's happening with my bottom lip. And then obviously the air's going up because of the way the Reinhardt system works. But
Okay.
This is sort of a weird rim size anyway. Maybe explain that for now, and then I'll. Okay. I think that I don't have much else to say about the bottom lip. It's kind of, I don't really think about it that much.
Yeah. O Morris perguntou o que acontece com o lábio de baixo dele quando ele enrola o lábio de cima, né? E ele falou que tem a filosofia do Doc Reinhardt, que foi um professor de trompete. Ele catalogou diversos tipos de embocadura, de posições de embocadura. O João Lenharo está aqui, o João manja bastante disso. E aí ele mostra, ele estava mostrando que a embocadura dele, quando ele vai tocar no agudo, é mais ou menos a embocadura que é descrita como a 4. Mas quando ele vai tocar as coisas normais, que acontece 95% do tempo, tocando dentro do pentagrama e um pouquinho acima do pentagrama, a embocadura dele muda. E falou, então depende muito o que ele está tocando. Ele não consegue explicar direito o que acontece com o lábio de baixo. Assim, é uma coisa meio natural essa mudança. Yeah.
Cool. Hopefully that was okay. Yeah, man. Any other questions?
Alguém tem mais pergunta? Yeah.
Nothing to
Yeah, I'm looking for more questions. Se alguém tiver mais pergunta, vai mandando, porque eu acho que a gente está chegando bem perto aí.
No worries, Morris. Hopefully it made sense.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, Josh.
Do you know do you know the Focal Points book?
No, I don't. Who's it by?
Yeah, it's by Rich Weil. He's an American. Yeah, he's an American trumpet player, and he wrote many books, and that is based on Reinhardt philosophy.
Oh, is it? Oh, great. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. I mean, I have Reinhardt's book here, but I haven't read it yet. But I do know about the system. It makes sense to me. I think the guy was a genius. I think more people should know about it. I think there was a question there from Josh, who I know. I was going to answer it. What's it called? Where is he? Have you ever injured your chops? Maybe from fatigue, pushing them too hard. Maybe you can translate the question?
Yeah. Perguntaram aqui, você já machucou seus lábios? Talvez cansou, assim, fatigou de tanto pressionar? Você pode falar um pouco sobre esse machucado, se tiver acontecido?
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Good question. Do I ever injure my chops? Everyone injures their chops. It might not always be like bruising or like pain. I have real issues with chat chops, like really bad. I've got it on me right now. Everywhere I go, I carry this product placement. Blistex. You can see how well used this one is. I just use it like all the time. And I have a bit of a chops remedy that I use depending on how much pain I'm in. Which maybe I'll do a video on separately sometime because it's quite interesting. I've got different products that I use and it sort of helps. But in terms of like, do I ever get injured? I try my best to not get injured, but I'm 26 years old and sometimes the testosterone comes out and I'm on a gig and I'm going to push myself harder than I should. And the next morning I wake up and I regret it. Maybe if I was a bit older and less sort of keen, then I would be a bit smarter about that. But yeah, I do. Is it from pressure? Maybe. But also, you know, consider this, like, if I'm always rolling my top lip in, that can be quite an uncomfortable place to be, you know, all the time. And it's fine, like I know how to get around it. But if I've worked too hard, I know that I haven't been smart enough. That's generally how I seem to think of it. And if I've been asked to go above and beyond, then I just make sure that that's reflected in the invoice at the end and I get paid more. I don't know, but it's if I go above and beyond and I push myself too hard, then I might need to take the day off. You know, I know that's not always straightforward and easy, but you know, sometimes we're asked to do things that are too much, and something that Simon Gardner taught me was, you know, don't be afraid to play at 70%, because 70% is still really good. It's just smart. It's a good thing. It's a good habit to get into, is to learn how to still sound really good at 70%, so that if you are bruised, or if you have a problem, or if you can, if like you look at the pad and it's like, this is going to be crazy, that you take breaks where you need, you tacit things that you can tacit, just be smart about it and don't hurt yourself. That is about as much as we can do, because we play a very, 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 very physically demanding instrument, and even though other musicians they don't see that.
So never play 100% of your potential, right?
No.
I mean, like, as you said, like 70-80% to be in a safe zone, right?
Yeah. So you can do 100% if you know that the next day you haven't got to work, or like what you're being asked to play is well within your, easy. But like, if what you have to play is really hard, rather than just like bash through it, relentlessly, and like, let's say a third of the way through the gig, you're already tired. It's like, that's your fault. If the music is too hard, or if the music is not very well written, which we have to do sometimes, or quite regularly, it would seem sometimes, it's like, if the music is not well written, that's for you to try your best to come up with a way of playing it that means you're not in a problem. So, and if what you're being asked to do is seriously above and beyond, then you need to come up with a way of explaining to whoever is in charge, like, oh, this is too much, and if they say we need it loud, you go, well, do you want me to play all day, or do you want me just to, blow my load now, and then I'm done the rest of the time. So I don't know. I when the guitar player write the arrangement, exactly.
Exactly. Let's include this. Perguntaram sobre se ele já machucou o lábio alguma vez, como é que ele faz. Ele falou que ele usa bastante o Blistack, e ele já chegou a usar algumas vezes alguns medicamentos pro lábio. Falou, o que acontece é que ele tem 26 anos e às vezes ele está numa noite que vai tocar em alguma gig, que ele tá, alguma gig legal e tal, que ele quer tocar bastante, e ele acaba assim ficando empolgado e acaba tocando demais. Aí no dia seguinte o lábio tá inchado, tá dolorido e tal. E ele falou que tem um trompetista da Inglaterra também muito bom, chama Simon Garber, e falou para ele que ele nem sempre precisa tocar 100% do potencial dele, porque se ele ficar numa zona de 70%, 80%, ele já vai estar soando muito bem. Falou, é lógico que você pode chegar em 100% do seu potencial. Falou, mas isso é bom fazer quando você não tem que tocar no dia seguinte. Falou, e se você se você se cansar durante a gig ou não conseguir tocar direito no dia seguinte, a culpa é sua, você acabou pressionando muito no dia anterior. E falou, e aí uma outra coisa que ele falou é que às vezes acontece que você vai tocar algum arranjo e o arranjo é mal escrito. Aí você tem que, de repente, negociar com a pessoa que está na frente da banda ou do trabalho, porque às vezes você está se machucando e você vai soar mal em vez de soar bem. Who does the arrangement of your videos?
Callum Au. Callum, C-A-L-L-U-M, and then Au, A-U. He was my best man at my wedding, and he's quite a talent. He has a new album coming out actually very soon, which is full orchestra, which is really cool, and vocals. I'm playing lead trumpet on it, and so is Tom Walsh. Full orchestra recorded at Air Studios in London. It's very, very cool. Yeah.
Eu perguntei para ele quem faz os arranjos dos vídeos dele, ele falou, what's his name? Callum?
Callum Au. Half
Callum
Chinese.
Au.
Yeah. A-U.
Ele falou que é essa pessoa que faz os arranjos dos vídeos dele. Ó, alguém tem mais perguntas? Está chegando bem perto de terminar. How do you do the videos? Where do you record? Do you do everything? Do you do the video? Do you do the audio mix, everything?
I do everything. So, we got a new one coming out soon. Well, soonish. It depends on how long it takes me. I have a studio in London where we record stuff. And I get the guys over and they come and record it. So Callum writes it, and then I sort of go through it with him. And we kind of figure out what we like, what we don't, and then we kind of fix it all up. But it usually takes Callum like a day and a half to write the whole chart. He's amazing. And then I go to my studio, we get it into Pro Tools, we MIDI it up, get it all like, you know, fake trumpet, fake all that sort of thing. And then we get the drums to play, and then the trumpets, and then the trombones and the saxes, and then we put the rest of the rhythm section in, and then I put my part on at the end. And then, and all the video is being done while we're going, so we film it all as we go. And then I get all the video on my computer here. This is my video machine, which is now being used as my audio machine as well, because I can't go to my studio. And then I mix everything here. I send it off for mastering in Nashville, or maybe in LA this time, I'm not sure. And then I do all the video here, and that video usually takes me a whole 24 hours. I just do the whole video in one day. But this next video is probably going to take me a bit longer. And then and I upload. So yeah, I do everything except for playing and writing, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what camera do you use? I know you use a GoPro on the guitar.
I use a
cool.
Panasonic GH4 with this is not as good a lens, but it's better for this room. Yeah, Panasonic Lumix GH4. They're really good, and they're a bit cheaper at the moment now because the GH5 is out, and the GH5 is even better. But this is the same camera that they used on like Star Wars 7. They used it instead of GoPros. They put them up on the top of the ship, like all the way around. They had like 10 of them.
Yeah.
It's a really amazing camera. And some of the older videos, you can tell, like Let It Go, for example, like the cameras on that are nowhere near as good. So every so often I'm sort of upgrading my gear as we go. And we got like tons of mics in the studio now. But it's expensive, you know. It's like a whole house deposit, you know, just dumped into the studio. But hopefully it's worth it for you guys. Yeah, man.
Eu perguntei para ele sobre os vídeos, como ele faz os vídeos, né? Ele falou que ele faz tudo. Ele tem um estúdio em Londres, aí eles fazem as gravações com os músicos e tal. Aí ele faz toda a edição de vídeo, a edição de áudio. Ele trabalha com essas coisas de estúdio. Besides trumpet, you do the studio work, right?
Say again, I do.
Besides trumpet, besides being a trumpet player, you work with studio stuff, right? Studio recording stuff.
Yeah, I mean, primarily I earn most of my living doing this, but occasionally I have, you know, the odd gig that comes in that's production. Ironically, during this coronavirus period, I've had a lot of people ask me to sort of do what I do for them. So they send me all their stuff, and then I just put it all together. So this has kind of worked out for me in some ways. You know, not a lot of it's well paid or paid at all. I'm just doing it to help people sort of get stuff out there. But yeah, for me, I love mixing music. It's more rewarding than playing the trumpet, and it doesn't hurt. So that's good. But you know, I'll always play, of course. You know, it's a balancing game. Sometimes it's nice to work from 9 to 5 instead of in the evenings as well. You know, so
yeah. Ele falou que a primeira coisa que ele é um trompetista, ele trabalha como trompetista, mas além disso ele também trabalha fazendo as gravações, mixagens. Ele falou que nesse período de quarentena ele tem recebido pedidos de pessoas para montar os vídeos da forma como ele tem feito, como montar para outras pessoas. Então ele tem feito esse tipo de trabalho também. One more question. Who are your reference, your idols on the trumpet world?
So, there are players that I love that I don't really try to sound like, and then there are people that I have tried to model my sound, over. So the people that I love that I don't consider like my playing to have been necessarily influenced by on a day-to-day basis, more my musical brain, people like Sergei Nakarikov, Winton, like amazing, any of the sort of fluffier, jazzier guys as well, like Till Brunner and Freddie Hubbard and those sorts of people. They're kind of players that maybe I haven't modeled my playing on, but I love musically. But then players that I have considered like to model my trumpet playing on, obviously Wayne Bergeron, who says hi, by the way. I was just talking to him before we came on live, so that's cool. Doc Severinsen, I don't know. And then the people that have influenced my playing like in a really obvious way would be like Wayne. Doc Severinsen, I think is quite maybe it's a bold thing to say because I have so many other favorites, but I think he might be my favorite, like just from like a sheer trumpet playing ability. His sound is massive and beautiful. I mean, what an amazing like personality on the instrument. It's unbelievable what he's still able to play. It's like amazing. And then other players. Everyone's gone out of my brain now. On the classical side of things, I love Tim Morrison's sound. I think he's just an absolute monster of a sound. A beautiful American vibrato. C trumpet mainly. I don't really play C trumpet, but I love how he plays. Harry James. Wouldn't say I sounded like him, but I could certainly have let him influence, at least some of my musical brain. And obviously Maynard, but old Maynard mainly. Not that I don't love sort of more modern Maynard, but I wouldn't say that I've taken much from modern Maynard from a playing point of view. It's more some of the older things. Some of the older recordings of Maynard when, like just the way that he could approach a note, like no one's ever sounded like that. It's not just the note he's playing; it's like sort of the approach to the note. It's not all the sort of wobbly stuff. It's all the small things about old Maynard that I just think are absolutely amazing. It's probably those guys mainly. But
Ok.
yeah.
Eu perguntei para ele quem são as referências dele no trompete, quem são os ídolos. E aí ele falou que tem duas categorias. Tem os caras que ele procura se espelhar para soar parecido com os caras. E tem os outros artistas que ele admira, que ele admira o trabalho, que ele gosta do trabalho. Foi nessa categoria de que ele gosta do Wynton Marsalis, Stu Brunner, Fred Hubbard, ele gosta do Tim Morrison, apesar de ele não tocar trompete indoor, ele gosta do Tim Morrison tocando trompete indoor, gosta do som. Mas na parte dele se espelhar em alguém para tocar, ele procura, obviamente, que é o Wayne Bergeron. Ele também falou muito do Doc Severinsen, ele gosta da sonoridade do Doc Severinsen, da forma como o Doc toca. Ele também falou do... Ai, caramba, agora esqueci. What's the last... Maynard, of course.
Yeah.
E ele falou ele falou do Maynard Ferguson também, mas falou que as coisas antigas do Maynard Ferguson, principalmente do modo como ele chega nas notas, o modo como ele tocava as frases naquela época, falou que ele gostava muito.
Another player would be Jerry Hay should be mentioned just purely from a not only a trumpet playing point of view, but from a musical point of view, it's like that era of music influenced me more than probably any. And he was the guy that sort of made all of that. You know, obviously all of the horn players at the time sort of would have had an impact, but the writing thing that Jerry had and sort of the concepts behind how things came up probably had an influence on me more than most other things. So absolutely Jerry Hayes should be in that group. I forgot to mention because it's a slightly different thing. But yeah. Look, man, I'm cool. Okay. This has been great fun. Thank you for having me. Why don't you do the Jerry thing and then and then we can sign.
Let me translate this. Ele só queria adicionar que ele também quer colocar nesse hall de pessoas favoritas dele o Jerry Hay, principalmente pelo aspecto musical. O Jerry Hay é um grande arranjador de metais e tudo. Então ele quer colocar o Jerry Hay nessa lista. A gente está terminando a live. O pessoal está pedindo para ele tocar alguma coisa. Não sei se ele vai querer tocar. Vamos ver. They are asking you to play something to finish. They ask for Frozen or something like that. If you want to do that, it's okay.
Yeah, I'll put it might sound awful, like just the headphones. I'll just try and play something. I'll put these back on. I don't know.
Okay.
There you go. There's something.
That's great, man. That's great. Yeah, I want to thank you for your time to do that.
It's been great fun. It's been great fun.
Yeah,
let's do it again sometime. I don't know when people get bored of sitting at home again and not having anything to do.
Yeah, sure. We are in quarantine here too, so nothing to do, just practicing and watch TV.
All right, man. Wicked. It's been great fun. And look, whatever we can do, try and make the festival work sometime. I'm so up for it. We can make that work. It'd be good. It'd be good to see everyone.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Brilliant.
A gente está terminando aqui com o Luis. Just make sure to save the live video, okay?
I did save the other one. I put it into your story. Great. Is that right? Yeah.
Great. I download that.
I'll do this one as well. Awesome, man. Thanks so much.
And I hope
see you there, everyone.
And I hope to see you in Brazil. Yeah.
Yes. We'll do
I hope to see you in Brazil soon. Yeah. We'll make that.
Let's do it.
Okay. So.
All right, guys. Thanks so much. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.